Welcome guys to the 2018's annual Halloween week. Yes, I did it last year with only 2 movies because there are so much things to do on that week. But now I am free this week. It's time to talk about some horror films. One of my favorite horror films because I'm not done with my favorite horror films yet. Yep, Halloween and Jaws aren't always my favorite horror films. They're not just my favorite horror films. There's more throughout this whole week coming. Halloween 2018 counts as Halloween week. Like, I know a lot of people are like, this is Tuesday, what about Monday? I'm gonna count Halloween in. Even though it's not really my favorite, I'm just gonna put that in. The 2018 I'm talking about. So let's start talking about some horror films, which I think horror movies are one of my favorite genres of all time because I love getting scared. I love a lot of clever scares. And I just love watching horror films. It's very fun to watch at this time of October. So, let's start talking about one of my favorites, which is Evil Dead, which is directed by Sam Raimi and stars Bruce Campbell. Now, the first time I saw Evil Dead, I was like kind of young, and I thought the movie was silly. I really thought the movie was really stupid and silly, because I didn't know that this movie is very small budget. I didn't know this movie was like made for fun, and now I found out when I watched this movie again and again, I can see how they made this movie. It's trying not to take this movie so seriously. It's trying to get the audience to have fun with the movie. It looks like they're just making this movie just for fun, like for a high school project or something. But it became so successful. That's what Evil Dead to me is. This movie is very low budget, but it works. Like, you know, like it works as a really awesome, fun cabin in the woods horror film. I think this movie is so much fun to watch. And there's so many silly stuff to watch, but it just, you don't care about that because you know this movie is not made for a serious project. It looks like a movie that are just making fun of other horror films, and they just put it all together in one big film, and it became so successful. And I'm kind of proud of that. Evil Dead to me is one of my favorite horror films, one of them. If I can make a top 10, I'll put Evil Dead on there, because Evil Dead, to me, I had a lot of fun with it. I watched it recently yesterday leading up to this review, and I did have so much fun with this film. Is this the greatest movie of all time? No, but it is on my favorite horror films list. Let's first talk about the things that really impressed me with Evil Dead. First, the practical effects. This movie is so low budget, and the effects in this movie, of course they use very practical effects. They probably use red coloring, blood, but it was so successful how they did that, like how they use these practical effects. Instead of using that stupid CGI with other horror films, they use practical in this movie, and this is typical 80s, so they always use practical effects. And I think the practical effects in this movie really do impress me. Even the makeup really impresses me. Like, the way the makeup looks, it's like, how did I see from those eyes they put on their eyes? Like, those contact things. That really shocked me, and I'm very impressed with the special effects, and I'm impressed that Sam Raimi did all that stuff. There were some really silly scenes as well. Like, there's so many scenes that I was like laughing my ass off because it's so funny but also terrifying at the same time. For example, yeah, this is a bit of a sexual contact thing, the tree raping scene. I was laughing my ass off of how silly that scene was. I don't know why. I was literally laughing my ass off. I was just like, what is going on? And the chick is just like, I don't want to explain more. I just don't want to explain more. But I'm really impressed of how this movie is. It's trying to not take itself so seriously. And I can see that. I can see this movie is just made for fun. Now it gives me an inspiration of like, even though the film is not going to be made for serious, it can still be successful. Also, Bruce Campbell, man, this is the movie that he shined. He is great in this movie, and I think he is probably the best character in this entire movie. I really think that his character is very groovy. I was just so impressed of how cheap this movie is. Like, it's like when you make a short film for a school project and it became so successful in the box office, like, it's really cool. Like, I want to do stuff like that. Like, if I make a small budget film and put it in the box office, definitely I would become famous if I make something very small budget. But only if I live in the 80s it will work. If it works in 2018, it will never work. Because 2018 is all about special effects, CGI and all that stuff. So maybe it wouldn't work for me. But Evil Dead is a movie that I just think it's made for fun. It has some really fun jump scares, a lot of funny, silly scenes. But this movie is overall a lot of fun to watch. It's one of those movies that you just accept it for what it is. Like, it's very silly, it's kind of terrifying in some moments, and the practical and the makeup effects look really great, and most of the cast didn't do bad in the film. The only complaints that I have with this film is that there are bits in this film that are very low focus, like with the camera. Yeah, there are some blurry scenes, and you can see that this film's very cheap budget, but it looks like a Nikon camera just like gone wrong or something like that, but that is it. Evil Dead, I did have a lot of fun with Evil Dead. It's a fun horror film, and I'm gonna give it an A. So guys, let me know down below if you have seen Evil Dead, do you like the movie or hate the movie? Just let me know in the comments below. Make sure you guys follow me on Stardust and Facebook and Instagram. Keep contact with me and have a nice day.